just was filtered out and was gone. So I don't believe that the pyramids or stuff like that was a canal was dug from the quarry 20 miles away, and that barges floated from the quarry to where they're building the pyramid. Because how would they put enough water in there to keep it from disappearing? It's going to suck right into the sand.
Yeah, these are all good points.
It doesn't make logical sense. And then, let alone, okay, you get it there, and then the gentleman talks about how you can unload these the stones off the barge by transferring the weight from one end to the barge to the other. That would raise it up, and they could slide the stone off. Okay, if that was possible, then how do you stack them up to build the pyramid?
And you're talking 410 feet. I could be wrong, but it's roughly around 400 feet.
Yeah.
The tallest one. And these blocks are precisely put in. So there is so much trigonometry and geometry used there to get these blocks just right, because there's different chambers and they have to be precise, just precision. And there's chambers that go all the way up through, and there's certain rooms and for that kind of math to be put together, and then with and the manpower, we don't even have the equipment, I don't think, to even put
They didn't. They wouldn't even
today.
have enough slaves, let alone, how long do you think it would take to chisel a block perfectly to fit? Now, in other words, are they taking the stones and then bringing it to the pyramid and custom chopping and blocking and hacking into that stone to make it fit? I don't believe it. I do believe, like in Africa, Ethiopia, and all these places, if you're up in an airplane, you look down, you see these arrows pointing to a direction, like a landing zone or something, okay? These are thousands of years old. Now, how did they get there? Even if there was humanoids at that time were capable of doing it, we couldn't do it today. Because even with all our whatever, we don't have the technology to make something a couple miles along and to be so precise even for that. Tells us right there that something was going on, that we were being visited by aliens, and these were landing zones, and it's all across the world. I think that they had technology so far superior, they could take these heavy stones and move them like they're nothing, and then raise them and lower them like nothing. And that's how the pyramids got built. I just don't believe that men sat there and built scaffolds and brought them up and then layered them in. So precise. We can't even build a building that accurate. Face it, we throw things together and it's a little bit off here, a little bit. Don't worry about it. And it's all done without mortar, no cement, and all this stuff. And let alone that, the Romans developed a cement that is so strong that we can't even make a cement that strong. Our cement, what we use now for building on roads, will get stronger as it ages. And then at a certain point, then it starts breaking down. Look at the Roman roads, pieces of it in the UK, France, all over Europe, where the Romans built these cement roads that are still there. They just undercovered it over, and I can't think where, another mosaic made out of concrete. Just in the last week or so. Again, it's not broken down. It actually, with age, it gets stronger. We can't even duplicate their formula. So how did they come up with it? And we are so intelligent, right? We can go to the moon. We're talking about going to Mars, but we can't make frickin' cement that'll last thousands of years, let alone 100 years or more.
Absolutely. And, back then, they only had, their tools were made out of copper. Now, copper is not think about it. That's not one of the hardest things like steel. And, another thing that it blows my mind is that La Libella, there's like 11 churches hewn and carved out of solid rock down into the rock ground. How in the world did they do that thousands or hundreds of years ago? And where's all the byproduct of the stuff they took out? You should look that up. You want to see something mind-blowing. How's that even done?
Well, there's a company in Kent, Washington that actually back 20 years ago developed the water pressure. It could cut through cement, with the high-pressure nozzles and all this stuff. They invented the technique. But even with that technique, they couldn't do what you're just talking about being done. So, I don't believe that with copper tools or brass tools or whatever, because even steel tools he wouldn't, unless it was case hardened, and still wouldn't be able to do that. How could you chop through the bedrock? How could you cut through these and create these beautiful things in the side of a mountain through stone? It's impossible. They didn't have the technology unless they had help.
Exactly. And I'm going to tell you something. A lot of that stone is solid granite. And I got to tell you something. I don't know if you know much about granite. That is one of the hardest rocks there is. Not to mention heavy. I couldn't imagine going out there with a copper tool and trying to carve out a 20-ton or even a 1-ton block. You'd be there forever.
Your tool wouldn't last because copper will bend. It's easy. Have you ever seen your electrical cord? That's copper.
I know it.
Okay, copper dishes, copper anything is a soft metal. So, I mean, the only thing softer than copper basically is pewter and aluminum. And, what can I say? I mean, I don't believe they created anything with copper tools that could have been done. It's just technology. So, I don't know. I don't buy some people's views about certain things. That's all I'm saying is I do feel we're on the second or third reboot. I could be wrong. We could only maybe be on the second, but I tell you, we're getting close to another reboot or something because it's just too many things stacking up against us. But that's the scary part.
You're absolutely right. And, again...
Wait a minute. I'm getting an orb coming down right now.
Is it warm and fuzzy?
It is warm and fuzzy, and it says, we're here to save mankind. By the way, do you have any Hunt's barbecue sauce? We're out of it. Okay.
You're silly. But these are all good points. And another place, there's that one, and I know you recognize it when you see it. It's part of the Nazca lines there in Nazca. But the whole top of a mountain looks like a runway. But that whole top of a mountain has been cut flat off and removed. Do you know how much material top of a mountain consists of? And it's nowhere to be found. Like, where did the whole top of that mountain go that they made? And it looks like a runway is what it really looks like.
And it is. And also, if you go around there and look at it on Google, you can see the arrow pointing to it from miles away. And that arrow is miles long. Now, how could they have done that? They couldn't have done it. Impossible. From ground, with their technology, make a straight arrow like that? Come on.
Right, and I think those tribes there, I don't even think they had copper tools. I don't even think they had a wheel either. But here's the thing: how'd they remove a whole top of a mountain, and where did it go? It's just gone. I mean, come on! You're talking about bulk material mass. It's got to take up space somewhere, but it's nowhere to be found. And you got all them long runways on top of that mountain. It's just mind blowing. It tells me right there
vaporized.
That some kind of there's been some technology that maybe it's been rebooted, or maybe there's been some from them up there that's helped. Who knows?
Well, that's why I'm saying it was from them, and I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about alien technology. They came and did it. That was one of their landing sites. Who knows what we're going to find in Antarctica? Who knows? We might find more there, too, eventually. At this rate, it won't be, well, you know what? By the time this asteroid, by 2022 or whatever you're saying, if it does hit, maybe by then we don't even have Antarctica left anymore.
And that's the thing. And another thing with the Antarctica, if you do see something on the Google Maps or whatever, Google Earth, you best screenshot it quick because the odds are it's not going to be there very long for us to look at.
As soon as it gets on Google, okay, and people start sharing it, bam, it's gone. It's cracking out somewhere else. It's not on the internet no more. And if you go look at it, it's either blocked or it doesn't exist anymore.
Or you're looking at a footage or a picture from previous that's been, put in its place, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not knocking Paul about his book. I mean, I think it might be a very good read, and I recommend people should go on Amazon and get it because we all have our own views. You have your view, I have my view, but doing this for so many different years and then having my encounter back in the early 70s and, and interviewing, hundreds of guests that claim that they've been abducted or seen UFOs. It just tells me that, there's more going on it. And then we realize, and again, think about it seriously. Do you honestly think that pyramids could have been built by slaves and dragging these tons of pounds of big stones 20 miles through the desert without wheels? And even if they put it on a tree, okay, which the only trees they had are one type of tree, basically, okay, you're going to put it on the tree. Well, that's going to sink right into the sand. You're going to go up and down this. Oh, yeah, come on. No way. And you wouldn't have enough slaves to get more than 2 stones, and then your whole country, Egypt, would have had no more slaves because they would all died from it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. But I always keep an open mind. I'm not closed-minded on my views until but I look at evidence. I keep an open mind. Who's to say? I could be wrong about anything, everything. Who knows? But I'm not one of them stunts that say, nope, it's my way and that's it. I'm always looking for evidence and new things and theories and ideas.
Yeah. Hey, newsflash. Aliens spotted over Washington, D.C., but don't worry about it, okay? They will soon starve to death because in a matter of days, because they only eat the brains of the politicians.
Yeah, they're going to starve to death.
And they're going to starve to death in days, matter of minutes probably, if they eat those infected brains.
Maybe that's why when they was that big UFO flap over the White House in 1952, they didn't land. They just kept on moving. They just kept going.
They went to Chicago or somewhere else.
A much more feasible brainage there to eat, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, coming up in December, we're going to have some really good guests. Terry Lovelace has already been on 3 times on our show. Believe it or not, 3 times. He is going to come on for 3.5 hours around the 18th or so of December to talk even more about his abduction, what he's seen in the UFO, and what happened to him more with the guys in the black suits when they gave him sodium pentothal to try to get information from him and try to convince him he never, ever took any pictures or that it never existed. So he'll be on. And we got some more great guests. So we're going to cover quite a bit during December, the UFOs. We're going to cover, ghost hunting. We're going to cover time machines. We're going to cover a lot of things like monsters, maybe in your backyard. Well, anyway, James, till tomorrow, I want to thank you for stepping up for me with the last guest. And what can I say other than you're my friend?
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you tomorrow and have a great night.
Okay. Everybody, we'll catch you tomorrow. Stay out of trouble again. Metatron Power and Light. I'm going to play their newest song. It was released today. You can go on to our website. They got some links where you can buy their music. This one's not listed, but it's out for sale as of today. I recommend you go buy it because she has a lovely voice and everything that, they come out with really fits in the paranormal. Everybody, till tomorrow, good night.